today we're going to go over your new rankings that you put out. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, send him in. Send him in.
Oh, boys, it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
I believed in Arch Manning, and I'll never do it again. You want to see it? Feast your...
Oh, yes! What is up, and welcome to Wednesday here at Crain and Company, your favorite college football, college sports content going out there. Really appreciate y'all being here. The audience is growing like crazy. We love it. You love it. Glad that we can come together. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, remember, without you, there is no us. We have another great one for you today. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce him because, as you can tell, there's nobody sitting in the chair to my right. That's because my brother had bleached his hair last night. None of us have seen it. None of us have seen it. Wardrobe's seen it. Some other people here at the company have seen it. And we thought it'd be best to reveal that to all of us and you guys at the same time. But before we get to that, we got another great show with one of the best in the business, the Hall of Famer, the legend, Fox Sports, the man's everywhere, our buddy Tim Brando. Timmy B, what's up, baby?
Yes,
what's
sir.
up?
Hello, fellas. Great to be with you. Happy Hump Day. And happy college football season. My goodness,
I know.
we're in September now.
Amen.
We're finally to September.
Well, and now it's going to go really fast. We all know how this works. You wait all the offseason, and then it flies by. Tim B, so today we're going to go over your new rankings that you put out. You unveiled your first edition of it before the season here, and then we want to get into some of these game picks for week 2, the ones that you're not affiliated with that you can pick. I know how that works. You can't pick the ones you're calling. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, the football side of it, are we ready to bring the Lance Bass lookalike in here, Justine? Are we ready for that?
Send him in.
Send him in. Send him in. Now, he's got a toboggan on.
He did this to himself.
He bet himself, Timmy B.
He
bet himself. He
Texas
didn't even bet anybody else.
Buckeyes. He took Texas, and this is what happened.
Okay, so he's got the hood on. I can't see anything yet. You can't.
Oh, boys, it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Is it bad for real?
Explain to the camera what happened here.
Yeah, tell everybody what happened before you unveil it.
I believed in Arch Manning, and I'll never do it again. You want to see it? Feast your...
Oh, yes! Ryan Gosling in the flesh. Yes!
It's Draco Malfoy's stupid brother.
Looks like I'm trying to kill Harry
Oh
Potter.
my God, no.
Wow.
Wait, it actually doesn't look that bad. It actually doesn't look that bad.
Pulling that off, son.
You know,
my
if there's
God.
ever anybody I want to reveal this to, damn it, it better be Tim Brando.
Tim Brando,
I thought it
initial
would be
in the
well.
comments. We want to know what you think. Initial react. It doesn't look that bad.
I just
good,
look
son.
like I'm fighting for the Germans.
You do.
I'm going to give you guys a little some nuggets in motion pictures and in sports television, okay? One of the great directors of college football, perhaps the most influential in the history of college football, was a man named Andy Sedaris, who went to school at Jesuit High in my hometown, Shreveport, won several Emmys for his work on the Olympics as well as college football with Keith Jackson. And then when he got out of the business, like a lot of great directors, he decided to start making some B movies, some soft, and shot a couple of those movies here in Louisiana. One at our club, Southern Trace, when it was probably 1991 or 2. And
That was a good
Southern
one.
Trace
Which one were
allowed
you
him to
in?
do it.
Yeah. I remember that was a
I
good
know
one.
this Southern. Our golf course was known as the Hong Kong Country Club, and it was filled with beautiful Asian women.
Okay.
And we closed down 9 holes of the course that particular day. And I'm just going to say right now, okay, that look might have rivaled John Holmes in some of the worst movies made in the 80s and early 90s. And if there were a boy band that specialized in appearing in movies, sort of like the Beach Boys and the Beach Blanket Bingo, Annette Funicello, Frankie Avalon series back in the 60s, you would be that guy. You would be the stud of that show. So think of yourself that way. Quasi Lance Bass, but only in a boy group made to order for really bad B movies.
Wow.
Something you can
Hey,
aspire
Tim.
to.
Hey.
That's the
You
one.
know,
Tim.
you know what it
What
looks
a-
like to
what
me?
a
A lot of people just think I'm coming
What a
out of my
compliment.
cage.
No, it just looks like
Plus, I
Blaine.
gave you some television history there. Plus,
Yeah,
I gave you
it
some
looks like
television
Blaine is the co-host of a fashion show on TLC.
Bruno. It
That's
sure
what it
think
looks
so.
like to
Yeah.
me.
Move that bus.
Yeah. Now move it back, please God. Okay, all right. We're gonna have to try and get through this.
You might make Dancing with the Stars or Bachelor in Paradise with that.
Yeah,
Just
you're gonna
keep it
make
up.
something.
I look
Just
like I'm
keep
about to
it
go
up.
bomb on American Idol.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay. Trying to switch
That's
gears
beautiful.
here. It's a sports show.
That's
It's a
hard
sports
to
show.
do. Hard to
It's-
follow this. This
It's
is
hard
very
to follow this.
follow.
It's hard to follow this. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna have to not look at Blaine. All right, Timmy B. You unveiled
Sorta
your
like-
rankings. I know it's tough. You unveiled your
Sort of like
rankings.
Kalen DeBoer not looking at his defense.
Yeah, no,
Right now.
yeah, Blaine looks like he plays safety for Bama against
Knew
Florida
we'd get
State.
there.
You unveiled your top 15 to us before this season. Now that we're a week in,
Yeah.
heading into week 2, let's go ahead and throw your top 15 up. I'm going to go through it if you're on audio and you can't see. I'll start at number 1. Ohio State is number 1, like we had in our power rankings yesterday. Exactly like us with LSU at number 2. Then at number 3, Iowa State. Timmy B, a couple things here. You know, obviously they got a big one against Iowa, which we're going to get into and pick here in a little bit. But does the way that Kansas State looked against North Dakota, does that worry you a little bit about Iowa State? Or do you
No.
think that was more of a coming back from
No.
Ireland hangover type
Yeah.
game a little bit? And is this team the best team in the Big 12 you've seen?
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we'll find out if they're the best team in the Big 12. My goodness. I mean, it was what a week it was for the Big 12.
Yeah.
I don't have TCU ranked, but Josh Hoover was the guy the other night, was he not? I mean, my God.
Yeah.
And no quarterback got less love in the offseason than Josh Hoover based on his performance a year ago. But here's why I put Iowa State as high up as I did. When you're coming off a win like that and you have the jet lag from all the different time zones, you sort of expect to see a performance like K-State's in their game. I mean, you sort of expect that. Iowa State didn't have that at all. I mean, Rocco only missed one pass. He was nearly perfect. I mean, he was 14 of 14 out of the chute in the game. And that wasn't a bad FCS team. That's a team that is historically going to be a semifinal or finalist team in the FCS playoffs. They lost to Montana State last year, who I had seen beat New Mexico at New Mexico a year ago at this time. So to win that game as they did and dominate the way they did, that's what you want to see in the evolution of your program. And I think Iowa State, who's never won a Big 12 title, they've been close. Purdy got them to the title game. Rocco got them there before, they got scatterbooed in the championship last year. I think this team now, with Abu Sama and Carson Hansen, and receiving, listen, everybody was saying, who's going to replace Higdon and who's going to replace Noel? The two top draft picks of the Houston Texans. They went in the second and third rounds. Well, they found the answer. They've got great receivers. I mean, great receivers. And Becht has magnificent confidence in them. So, I shook up a few people, I'm sure, with that pick of Iowa State in the 3-hole. Why do they have to be 21? Why do they have to be 23? Why? Why? Because of the brand? Because they're in the Big 12? Because they're not in the Big 10? Or the almighty SEC? That's the only... See, you look at the AP, and it is so damn predictable. And I'm not being a contrarian. I'm simply saying what I see. And I base, as much as I base my preseason poll on the way I think it will end, when we get into the season, fellas, it's all about performance. It's all about the way that team played that week, okay? And Iowa State put their foot on the jugular and didn't let it off.
Yeah.
And that impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I think that they will, in a series with Iowa that's normally very close, the proof will be in the pudding against Phil Parker's defense. Arguably, one of the best defense coordinators in the game. If they light them up, if they light up Iowa, then I think that my ranking at number 3 is justified.
Yeah, all right, let's set this graphic back up here. I want to go through these, and then, Dave, I'll throw it to you to ask maybe a question about it. Miami at 4, Penn State at 5, Georgia at 6, Oregon at 7, Notre Dame at 8, Tulane at 9, Illinois at 10, Oklahoma at 11, Clemson at 12, Arizona State at 13, Texas at 14, South Carolina at 15, and just out, Ole Miss, Indiana, Minnesota, South Florida, and Florida, who actually both play each other this weekend. David, what's something that stands out there you want to throw at Timmy B?
Well, Timmy B, no Alabama on that list, and you came on here a couple weeks ago and you said Alabama wasn't going to make the college football playoff. Certainly that made the rounds on social media, and since then they have lost their opener to Florida State. I mean, the floor is yours, sir. What are your thoughts?
Well, people were wondering why I didn't put Florida State even in the just out category. It's because I don't think that much of Alabama.
Wow.
I didn't think that much of Alabama before the season got underway. I mean, I put them where I did for fear that somebody in a nearby state on GPS could find my home. Okay, I didn't like Alabama to start, and everybody, including you guys, were all in on Alabama. I just think the days of Alabama's dominance are over. Yeah, you can have great looking players. The personnel can be there. The ratings on these kids can be very high, but that doesn't mesh with, the effort factor and the, oh, by the way, you got to go out and compete factor. And neither were evidenced in that game. Castellanos was, what a story that is. And by the way, Florida State, I told some fans of FSU when they were challenging me on it on Twitter, I said, listen, you got to prove to me after you beat Alabama that you can sustain this. Okay, yeah, we know you had a chip on your shoulder. We know what happened a couple of years ago from a program standpoint when you got screwed and Alabama got your spot. And Castellanos was a great pickup, but this is still a 2-10 team, okay, that is bouncing back from a horrible season. So, no, I didn't have them ranked, and they weren't in my grid at all. Now, they are now. Are they a top 25 team? Sure they are. But I don't have them in my top 20 even now because I've got to see some substance the rest of the way. Alabama, that's no fluke. They got their asses kicked. That game, those were sustained drives, by the way. That wasn't like you got a fumble in the red zone and you took it in, a pick six. No. Those were real drives against a vaunted, highly rated defense in terms of personnel, and it's a mirage. And I think all of us need to understand that during the offseason, we were all affected by the punditry. Okay, this insatiable appetite to believe that Alabama is all that when they're not all that.
Summer nights can become a battle between exhaustion and overheating. That restless cycle of too hot and too cold can leave you longing for the cool, comfortable sleep you deserve. Well, with Boll & Branch best-selling signature sheets, you finally get the cool sleep that you've been craving. Now, these aren't just any ordinary sheets. They're crafted with a special cooling weave using the finest 100% organic cotton that feels crisp and breathable against your skin. And here's the best part. You can try them risk-free with their 30-night guarantee. These all-season sheets start with breathable, unmatched softness that only gets better with every wash. So instead of deteriorating like cheap store-bought brands, they stay perfect and you feel perfect. We use them. My wife loves them. She wants more stuff. She loves the blankets too.
They sent me a waffle blanket.
Yeah, the waffle blanket goes hard. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Need it, though.
I didn't know that was a thing. Feel the difference an extraordinary night's sleep can make with Boll & Branch and get 15% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com/booster. That's BOLLANDBRANCH.com/booster to save 15% and unlock free shipping. Exclusions apply. My thing is this, and again, I'm not going to sit here and make a case for the way Alabama looked on Saturday.
It's impossible. Listen, I'm not condemning. Listen,
no, Timmy B. I'm just saying.
This wasn't I told you so.
No. But it needs to be though, because it was a great call. It was a great call. What I'm saying is, when it comes to Alabama and the coaches that I know over there that are at practice and the guys that I trust what they say because they've never lied to me, if you want to talk about the way that Florida State played and the dominance that they had up front, that was shocking to me. But there's no way in my mind, even with the Kalen DeBoer coach team and not Nick Saban, that you wouldn't give competitive effort. Like, that is something that, to me, it is so contrary to what the people that I've known, and I'm sure that you've heard from people that you know, that is the standard at Alabama. If they were just bad and they had bad players, that'd be one thing. Like North Carolina, you just got a lot of bad players at this level. Like, it's going to happen. But when you have, and you'll see this in the draft, guys that will go and play in the NFL from this team, and they don't give effort, to me, that is something that was impossible to see. It's impossible to see. Because, I mean, Timmy B, like I said yesterday, I did not think, I said Kalen DeBoer shouldn't take the job. I said that multiple times. But I did not think the culture would dive this far, this fast. Maybe you're soft physically, but they're soft mentally. And that, to me, is the most surprising part. And one of the reasons, I thought they'd be embarrassed after last year. I thought they'd be embarrassed the way the year ended. Not only were you not embarrassed, you're doing TikTok dances after the game. Your defensive line is laughing at each other as the other team is taking a knee. It just seems like a terminal illness to me. And I'll sit up here and say, hey, I was wrong, just like I'll say I was right about Ohio State beating Texas. I was right about South Florida. I was right about Auburn, this, that, and the other. But I think there's bigger problems than schematics and play calling there.
Right. And here's what I think it is. And I defended Kalen DeBoer, and I still will defend Kalen DeBoer when somebody says he's a horrible coach. He's not a horrible coach. He's clearly, though, not the right fit as coach at Alabama. And I gave him all of last year, and in the offseason, those same people that you talked to, I have my people too, and there were a lot of people that were concerned about a level of naivete on Kalen's part and with his staff that maybe just does not understand what happens in that state as it relates to the fan base and the culture on that campus as it relates to football. When you are walking around being anointed because you're a member of the Alabama football team all the time, and when you know that your future is still going to be in football, maybe it's not a we thing, it's more of a me thing. And in today's environment with the portal and with NIL, you've got to be cognizant of these things. And I think Kalen was naive to it all. I really do.
Yeah.
And all the things that he says, and all the things that he told me when he was at UW, when he was coaching Penix. I had Washington several times and spent a lot of time. He and Ryan, I love Grubb. Their story is just tremendous. Okay, from Sioux City to all the way to Washington, what they've accomplished. I mean, this guy didn't get to Alabama and just fall off a turnip truck and suddenly not be able to coach. He knows how to coach, but he doesn't understand that culture. And he will never say in public the things about his guys that Nick Saban said.
Yeah.
And that's what that fan base wants. And the same was true in the aftermath. I've seen this play out too many times before. With age comes wisdom and recollection. I was around when Bear Bryant coached his last game, and they brought in Ray Perkins. And Perkins wasn't a bad coach. He was an egomaniac, but he wasn't a bad coach at all. But he wanted to change things. And that was met. You don't change things that Bear put in place. So he was run out of there real quick. Okay. And then in the aftermath of that, you went through, Bill Curry, who in my mind did a really good job there, was never going to fit. And he went through similar situations where rocks were being thrown through his picture window at his home. And I had found out from people in the Alabama Yacht Club that they were asking letters were being sent to get influential alumni to buy out his contract and his staff's contract. He was a Bobby Dodd guy. And any Bobby Dodd guy was not going to fit at Alabama because Bear and Dodd hated one another. So that was a bad choice to bring Bill in. Bill wound up leaving after only losing one game to Auburn to go to Kentucky. Now, who in their right mind leaves Alabama to go to Kentucky in football?
Not yet.
Huh? I mean,
Not
think
in
about
football.
that. No, it doesn't happen. So now, then you go through the whole, swinging doors of Price and DuBose and Shula, and but they did have that one moment with Gene Stallings. Why? Because Gene was like Bear. He was enough like Bear that Alabama was all in on him, and he did get him a natty against Miami. And that defense Brother Oliver put out was one of the greatest defenses. It was probably the closest thing to what Matt Patricia did to Arch Manning last week was what Brother Oliver did to Gino Torretta in the Sugar Bowl in 1992 to give them a national championship. They needed and wanted and have to have someone that embodies at least a mirror image of Nick Saban. Who is that guy?
Yeah.
And that's the situation at Alabama. You can get away with this at other places. Okay? You can't at Alabama. That is a privileged, toxic fan base, okay, that in their mind knows football the Alabama way. You can't just win your way. It's a little like Rich Rod when he went to Michigan.
Yeah.
Do you think for 1 minute, David Cohn, do you think for 1 minute that Rich Rod was a bad coach when he was at Michigan? I don't at all. It's just his philosophies, everything that he was all about, ran contrary to what Michigan football historically was all about.
It's a good comp, Tim, and I had to witness that one firsthand.
Absolutely it.
But I do want to. I just want to put a button on it with this question here. How does this experiment with Kalen DeBoer into Alabama? Because you sent a lot of posts over the weekend on social media, and I agree with 50% of the sentiment, and I disagree with 50%. I mean, the college football fan who says the moment that a head coach loses a game, they should be fired. That's lunacy, right? You guys coach. These are people's lives. They're trying to provide for their family. At the same time, one of my favorite quotes ever about college football is, this is our way of life versus your way of life. There's still a regional aspect to the game that the NFL is missing. So I don't mind when a fan base says how you coach your team is as important to us as you winning and losing.
The difference in all that, David, is when it's our way of life versus your way of life. We were talking about it before the transfer portal, before the NIL. Before the landscape of the sport had changed. There really was no parity back then. Parity was a myth. Parity is now real, okay? It's absolutely real. That LSU defense in the secondary at the other Death Valley, okay, was real. And that was a secondary that was an abomination a season ago. And even worse, the season before that when they had a transformational quarterback. Brian Kelly identified what the problem was. He went out and fixed it. And he got an aggressive defensive coordinator that's now probably the most popular coordinator this side of Matt Patricia in college football. Yeah. Because of what they did to, I think, a great quarterback in Cade Klubnik. I mean, Klubnik he was dizzy at the end of that game. And by the way, kudos to Brian Kelly for throwing it right back at Dabo. I love that. I think that's the real Brian Kelly. I want to see more of that.
This episode is sponsored by Raycon. Remember back-to-school shopping as a kid? Yeah, I hated going back to school, but you had to do it. New notebooks, new shoes, new routines. I might not be in school anymore, thank goodness, but I still love that feeling of starting fresh. That's why this fall, I'm calling it Back to Cool, because Raycon's Everyday Earbuds Classic are my must-have for getting into a routine and making everything feel smoother and cooler. The new Raycon Everyday Earbuds Classic come packed with impressive upgrades, active noise cancellation, shut up, and multi-point connectivity allow seamless switching between devices while blocking out distractions. The ergonomic fit is incredibly comfortable and stays put during activities. Plus, the new fresh cool mint color adds a stylish personal touch with 32 hours of battery life and quick charge delivering 90 minutes from just 10 minutes of charging, plus awareness mode for safe outdoor activities. They're designed to handle any daily routine. Go to buyraycon.com/booster and get 20% off site-wide today. That's BUYRAYCON.com/booster to get 20% off site-wide today. Buyraycon.com/booster.
Just be the combative Northeastern guy that you are. Okay,
and LSU fans love
when
that.
he said what he did.
LSU
I think Brian Kelly is the most likable he's ever been right now.
For sure. He's the most likable he's ever been.
Well, Tim, I'm glad you brought up Matt Patricia. Can we pull that graphic back up real quick?
Yeah.
What was it like in the Barbie movie?
Look, she was super hot.
I'm telling you.
You have
Barbie, if they make a pork Barbie, he's it. He's absolutely it. No
Yeah,
him.
I love you guys so much. I want to talk about you have Notre Dame. You have Notre Dame at 8, and you have Texas at 14. Texas goes on the road and loses to Ohio State, which, I mean, right now people have the best team in the country. Notre Dame goes on the road and loses to Miami. Why Texas so low compared to Notre Dame's 8?
Because they were pathetic offensively. I mean, they were just horrible. I thought Notre Dame did a lot of good things in that game. I mean, Freeman's team fought. I mean, there was some fight. At no point did Sarkisian's team look like it made any adjustments whatsoever. I mean, this is a guy that called plays. I mean, people are talking about Patricia's a longtime defensive coordinator. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Sark call plays in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons? I think he did. Mm-hmm. And wasn't he thought of as maybe the best play caller in the game? That's why Nick hired him as an analyst, and then he later became the offensive coordinator. I mean, Arch had a bad outing. Is it all on him? No, of course not. I believe most of it should go to Sarkisian. Mm-hmm. But listen, Ohio State was not great guns in that game. They did not light it up at all. I mean, there's some questions, I think, about the Buckeyes in the aftermath of that game, but not enough for me to drop them from number one. They just took on Texas and beat them again, okay? Yeah. And with different people. You guys were all saying to me when I picked them number one, you were saying, well, they lost 14 guys. Count the ones that left that weren't drafted. We're talking 17 of 22 guys gone. And I was like, yeah, but what's behind them? All these guys have played before. And you know what? That's what we saw. We didn't see superstars out there. We didn't see Jeremiah Smith torch anybody. And Texas still lost. That game was gettable for Texas. Mm-hmm. It was gettable. And they didn't get it.
It was.
So, I mean, that to me was the difference. Notre Dame, I mean, that was a really good football game. And they played, I thought, Cristobal almost coached his way out of the W with some of the late play calling, I thought, in the game. That field goal from a guy that's only made 4 of 11 the year before was a little longer than I would have been happy to have. But, they still got the win. But Notre Dame is still, I believe, they can kind of hold their heads a little higher in the aftermath of that loss because of the environment they were in and the way they fought back after falling behind. Can't say the same thing about Texas. They were lucky to even have a shot on that 4th down play before. For them to even have the ball with a chance to tie it was amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, if you'd have told me C.J. Carr would run the ball more times than Arch Manning, I would have called the police on you before the game. And if you'd have told me C.J. Carr had more carries than Jeremiah Love, which is
it's insane.
Yeah. It's borderline malpractice by Mike Denbrock, who I got a lot of respect for. All right, I want to get into some of these games this weekend, Timmy B, and then we'll get to where you're calling. Obviously, the main entree this weekend is Michigan going down to Oklahoma. Michigan opens with New Mexico, vanilla ice cream, ho-hum, get the win. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma beats Illinois State, very vanilla as well. A little bit worried about the run game. When you look at this matchup, are you leaning a certain way right now? I've got Oklahoma winning the game. I think it's a low-scoring game. They find a way to win. Whenever you have a young quarterback going to make his first start on the road in a huge environment, we saw with Arch Manning, right? We saw C.J. Carr. It kind of get to him a couple times. It's hard to play quarterback in general, but I think Mateer finds a way late to make a play. Who do you like in this game?
I like Oklahoma, and I'm not certain it'll be as competitive as you think it'll be. Yeah. Michigan's got some trouble. They've got a great quarterback. Okay, and if they're going to have the kind of season that they want to have in the Big Ten, he's going to be the reason. All right. There are, and David, you talk to people back at Michigan all the time. I'm working with a former Michigan quarterback. The vibe there is not all positive. Okay, it's not all positive. But that kid is the difference maker. So it seems to me that he's going to have to carry that team, at least in the early going. And you're right that this is a game where when you're on the road for the first time and playing in a place like Norman, that makes it tough. And Oklahoma's defense now, I think, is going to be more devastating than ever because Brent Venables feels so confident about where his offense is with Arbuckle calling the shots and Mateer being his quarterback. Mateer he's got to be a Heisman candidate, fellas. I mean,
I got him winning it.
Good.
Timmy B, I got him winning it.
He could win it. As high as I was coming into this season last year on Cam Ward, I'm high on John Mateer in terms of being a difference maker for his team.
Yeah.
Miami screwed the pooch by losing the game that they did to Syracuse because they had a shot, to do some damage with a transformational quarterback last year. I think Oklahoma will have the same opportunity, and I have a lot of faith now from a defensive standpoint in what Venables can do when he's got the confidence that his offense is in good hands. And I think it's in great hands. Yeah. So I don't know that the game will be as competitive as you think.
I got Oklahoma going 10-2, so I hope you're right.
I see it a little different, Tim.
Yeah.
I mean, if you told me that one of these teams wins by 17 points, I'd say that Oklahoma won the football game. I don't see a scenario where Michigan does that. But after week one, I don't think that Bryce Underwood needs to carry Michigan. If he's good enough to do that, then I believe in Michigan even more. Granted, there's no Mason Graham, there's no Kenneth Grant. But remember, a lot of those guys Will Johnson didn't play for most of the season last year, and he was an NFL pick. They brought back a lot of the players on defense. Are we going to see a Wink Martindale defense that looked like they did at the beginning of last year against Texas, or towards the end of the last year against the eventual national champion Buckeyes? If we see that, particularly in stopping the run, you could see a situation here where John Mateer throws for 400 yards this weekend and Oklahoma still loses. I just watched Sawyer Robertson do it for Baylor against Auburn. He threw for 400 yards and they still lost the football game. I don't want to see that if you're a Michigan defense, but that could happen, particularly with the way Justice Haynes was rushing the football this week.
Well, that's a good point. Early in the season, that's what makes it so much fun, is we just don't know.
We don't know.
Okay, there were so many things we really don't know. We'd like to think we know, but we really don't. And I talk about the evolution of these teams through the course of a season. I think the situation with the Ohio State-Michigan game at the end of the year was mental. I think there was a mental block for Ohio State, and I think Ryan Day really felt, and I think he probably got to Chip Kelly in preparation for the game and said, you know what? Screw them. We're gonna beat them their way. We're gonna pound the rock, which was the worst possible thing to think that you needed to do in that game. It was as awful a strategy as any I've ever seen in a big game situation, and he was rightfully excoriated by everyone in Columbus over it. Okay, I mean, it was just a horrible game plan. It was against Oklahoma on the road in this game. Michigan, if they want to win the game, the best thing to do is control the football. I agree with that, David, and play the Michigan way, because that is the way they win football games. Don't put it all on Underwood. But the issue for them defensively, without those two big mammoth picks that really anchored not only the win against Ohio State, but I thought the way they just crushed Alabama again in the bowl game victory, that gave Michigan a real feel-good going in. But I'm still hearing rumblings about dissatisfaction with staff, about where are we going here? Do we have anyone? Underwood's a great QB, but who's going to help make him better as time goes on? Yeah. We'll see.
It's going to be fun.
It's too much to ask. I just think it's too much to ask to go to Oklahoma this soon.
And kudos.
If I'm wrong,
task.
Yeah, and kudos to these teams for playing this
Absolutely.
game. Kudos to these teams.
And the public doesn't know either how to
What's the line?
Right now it's 5.5.
Oklahoma?
It's 5.5 Oklahoma. And I'm pretty sure it started at 3.5. I've seen it 6.5 come back down.
What's the over/under in this one?
I'd have to find it. 1 second.
All right, well, let's go ahead.
I believe it was
46.5.
God, I like the under, man. I like the under this one. Timmy B, let's move on to a team that you called their game here recently. Kansas going to Missouri. Sam Horn gets hurt.
Game.
Early in the game last week for Missouri, he goes down. So now it's Bo Perbula, right? It's your team. You look at Hardy, rushed for 100 yards, I think on 10 carries, something like that, to transfer in. Marquise Johnson had a great game. When you looked at Kansas, Jalen Daniels looked as good as I've seen him. The offense was on time. They were on rhythm. I know Fresno State isn't the Kansas City Chiefs at the end of the day, but they're also not the Bad News Bears either. There's some guys that can play on that side. I'm so interested. The question that needs to be answered for Missouri, it's not whether Bo Prabula can throw the ball. It's can he throw the ball well enough to be balanced on offense so teams just don't load the box on Missouri once they get into SEC play. And then also, this Missouri defense, which we said we thought was going to be pretty solid heading into the year, is going to be tested, Timmy B, by this Kansas offense and all that misdirection and what they do in the flats with their split bluff, everything that happens with Jalen Daniels being able to move around. How do you what's your feel on this one?
There's a lot of weaponry there. You know, Kansas has got a lot of weaponry. And they've more than replaced Devin Neal, which I thought would be difficult. Yeah. They're running the football very, very well. And when I look at the receiving core, they seem to be really on time with Jalen. The thing about Daniels, and this is, you know, he's such a great leader, and he's been there for so long. Yeah. And he's there for the right reasons, too. And the guy that replaced Andy Kotelnicki when he took the Penn State job, Zabrowski, has been his quarterback's coach the whole time he's been there. So they really have a great relationship and feel one another really, really well. He's got more control of the offense than he's ever had. And so if he sees, you know, a run fit against what would be a passing formation and he needs to change it, he'll change it like that and get him into the right play. The Kansas didn't have all of that available to them. Even when Jalen was in the middle of that great run to start the season, the year they got out to the 5-0 start and finally managed to make a bowl game for the first time in forever. I think that he's now so mature that this game for both teams, I think, is going to be a propeller for the rest of their seasons. A little bit like that Kansas State-Missouri game, you might recall, that was won on that long field goal that turned Missouri into a team that would eventually win double-digit games and take down Ohio State in a bowl game. I think Kansas is providing the same kind of opportunity for Missouri this time that they provided for in the Kansas State matchup a couple of years back. So, and the same thing is true with the Jayhawks now, because when you start talking about the Big 12, okay, you can literally start with Arizona State, Iowa State, and keep on going. BYU looks really good, even though Retzlaff is gone. Utah, my God, Dampier.
That's who I got winning the Big 12, Timmy B. That's who I got winning it.
Well, I don't, and I think the reason I don't is because ultimately, I don't know that he finishes the season. They're going to rely on him too much. But to your point, if he does, can they? Sure, they can. They got a great defensive coordinator. Utah knows how to win Big 12, titles. They did it in the Pac-12. They went to back-to-back Rose Bowls and almost beat Ohio State a couple of years back. Morgan Scalley is one of the best defensive play callers in the game today. Yeah. So I'm not going to begrudge you that, but I just think it's easy to overlook Kansas, isn't it? And if Kansas was a top 25 preseason team last year and got off to a tough start, lost, I think it was 5 games by 4 points or less, but you saw how they finished, okay? They took down, Colorado. They took down really good. They took down teams that were in the hunt to win it all in the Big 12 last year. They were the ultimate spoiler last year to finish 5-7. So they had good karma at the end of last year that's carried through this year. I'm going to take Kansas in this game in a slight upset because I think they got too much weaponry for Missouri to deal with. Yeah.
I'm gonna go on the other side here. What's crazy is, like, Timmy B, everything you said I agree with. Like, I agree with everything that you just said. But there's something about this game, where it's being played, the style that Missouri is going to play, and the team's speed on defense from Missouri. Right. I'm going to go Missouri in a tight
and these teams do not like each other.
There's not a...
This is hate now. This is hate. I think... Yeah. Personally, I think right now the spread's sitting at -6.5 Missouri with the over-under
that's too high
50.5 Kansas money line would be plus 188. I think Kansas plus 7.5 is one of the best bets.
I like did you say 50.5?
Yeah,
I like the over
in that game. I thought Kansas defense has looked a lot better than what we're used to seeing from a speed standpoint.
They have.
But I think Kansas plus 7.5 is one of the best bets on the board.
Tim, what about Mississippi State hosting Arizona State? I mean, here's an ASU team that made the college football playoff a year ago. They're ranked 12 right this second, taking on a team that was the bottom of the barrel in the SEC a year ago, and yet that spread is under a touchdown. Arizona State minus 6.5 right now on the road.
Well, I don't see any way that Mississippi State wins the game. Can they be competitive? Yeah. Here's why. It's anytime a team west flies this far east and has to play in an environment like the one, at Mississippi State, make no doubt, you can say this is a bottom feeder of the conference, but it's a hell of an environment to go in if you're not, quote unquote, from there. All right. Those cowbells get going. It's pretty wild. Leavitt is good enough, I think, to handle it and ultimately win it, but they're still trying to get their own identity, Arizona State, the identity that has to be the post-Scattaboo identity. Now they've got a variety, a community of backs that are going to try to fill that void. The kid from Army is a tough runner and got over 1,100 yards, but, he was coming from an option-oriented offense. I'll be interested to see how well they're able to run the ball to free things in the game. But I don't doubt Dillingham's team being tough enough to pull it off. I just think it'll be very close because State is a team that when they're playing at home and they're playing against a ranked team, a lot of this, you're bringing this into the SEC. I mean, they're going to be dealing with a lot of that, the Sun Devils are. And sometimes early on, you don't know what hit you when you go into a place like Stark Vegas. Yeah. So I think it could be very, very close, but I think Arizona State will survive it.
Who do you got?
I like Mississippi State plus the 6.5. Maybe Arizona State winning the game, though. I really like the Leavitt kid.
Yeah, Blaine, what about you? Who do you got?
Sam Leavitt's too good. I think he's the difference.
Here's where, and again, I picked Mississippi State in the offseason to win this game. And I watched them play against Southern Miss. And to be honest with you, part of me is kind of regretting it because I don't think up front they look great. But when I look at Arizona State, what's crazy to me about that first game is Sam Leavitt goes 25 of 39 for 257, 2 touchdowns. So, he has a good game, 1 interception, got sacked twice. But look how crazy this is. Now, there's no Scatabo. Your leading rusher was Sam Leavitt and Brown. Both had 7 carries for 73 yards. Look at this receiving. Jordan Tyson, 12 catches for 141 yards.
Yeah, he's good.
You may want to stop the best guy.
Yeah.
Then after that, the next leading receiver was the Brown kid at running back, had 6 catches for 72. Then a tight end had 1 catch for 20 yards. A running back, the other Brown, had 3 catches for 13 yards. Then another running back had 1 catch for 6 yards. And then finally another wide receiver had 2 catches. So here's the thing of Mississippi State.
If they're not going to guard Jordan Tyson,
you don't got to be a genius to figure out without Scatabo, don't let Sam Leavitt beat you with his legs, and for the love of God, guard Jordan Tyson. If you do that, you're going to have a chance. Those numbers are nuts. They're nuts. Outside of Jordan Tyson, their only other receiver had 2 catches, 2 more than me.
I think they were guarding him. That's the problem.
Than me. Now look, I know they didn't play. I'm telling you though, there's some weird feeling that I got
upset.
That Mississippi State does win this game.
There we go.
Okay, and I know when they lose, Arizona State will probably put this on some hype video or some bullshit like that. That's fine. Jeff Levy, come on. I saw your son on the Netflix, dog. He's got a cannon. Come through for me one time, big dog. Stark Vegas. They made my French Bulldog dog of the day there during baseball season.
Now we see.
Yeah.
Now we see.
Maybe a little bias. And hey, Kenny, there's no casinos in Starkville, dog. They don't allow them there. Y'all could have stayed somewhere closer, but I'll probably be wrong.
You land-grant institution guys are all the same. God
That's
almighty.
about right. That's about right.
Whether it's Auburn or Mississippi State, my God.
Hey, Timmy B, though, Auburn, I mean, let's big win over Baylor, kind of the one black eye in the Big 12. Big win over Baylor. All right, let's move on to it.
Big win.
an SEC matchup.
Yeah.
And boy, you want to talk about having some hate in your
Revenge
heart.
game.
Yeah.
If you're an Ole Miss player, fan, or coach, you want to win this one by $1 billion after Kentucky took away your ticket to the dance
At home.
and then you just stayed there and ate Cheetos naked on a beanbag chair. All right, so
That's not a terrible time.
Feels like Friday.
no, it's actually what I do every Thursday, which by tomorrow I need to go and get some Cheetos. So Ole Miss, Timmy B, goes to Kentucky. Let's just be honest, man. Kentucky sucks. Like, I'm not going to sit here and I don't believe in Zach Calzada. You know, they lost a lot of their talent to other places. I saw one make a catch at LSU. They didn't say it was a catch, but we all know it was a catch for a touchdown. I'm just, I'm not seeing it, brother. I'm not seeing it. I think Ole Miss shows up, plays well. I like Austin Simmons. I know they dropped, 63 on Georgia State. They won't score that much, but I don't know how Kentucky scores more than 17 points. And if you can't do that against Ole Miss, you're going to lose.
Yeah, nor do I. You know, a little bit like, I hate to say it because I like Stoops a lot. I do. But, your time as a head coach at Kentucky is always borrowed time, I think, in football. Yeah, it was for Fran Kersey. It was for Jerry Claiborne. Jerry Claiborne was very successful there. And to just listen, I think obviously, even though the Leach mummy thing was fun to watch with Couch, it only lasted a short time. So I do think that the end is near for Coach Stoops, and this game, because of where it falls in the schedule and where Ole Miss is, and people there are pissed. I know their team is pissed that they haven't gotten as much love, to not be mentioned in the same breath as the Georgias, the Bamas, the LSUs. That bothers them. And I can tell you, when I put them in the just out category this week, I was hearing it about not having them ranked higher than that. And they are hungry. They're very hungry. And there's been a lot of talk, I'm sure you've heard it too, in the aftermath of the DeBoer debacle last week, that, what about Lane Kiffin? Well, you think Lane Kiffin really was going to consider Alabama after Alabama didn't consider him? Yeah. Screw that.
Yeah.
He's at Ole Miss for good. He's going to stay at Ole Miss because there's no reason why he can't have his own statue and build a program there that, would remind people of the Vaught era. Okay. And I'm into that. I'm into anyone that wants to make history. And I think that the Lane train is going to roll in this game. I think they're going to beat the living hell out of Kentucky. I do.
It's funny you bring that up because I don't know if y'all saw, but the odds are already out of who's going to be the next head coach at Alabama. And I think Lane Kiffin.
It's such a joke.
Yeah,
it's such a joke.
It's such a joke against that. I think you can see the next defensive coordinator at Alabama coaching in this game, and it's Mark Stoops.
I will say this right now, as much confidence as we have in Ole Miss is only a 10.5 point.
Buy it down to 9.5.
And it's
come on,
over under sitting at 50.5, and the money is laying right now. Kentucky plus 10.5.
Good.
Wow.
Good. Let's get it down. Get it down to 9.5 so Daddy can make some manyan.
You could do it. Put $500,000 on Kentucky.
There you go.
And that'll
$500,000? Yeah. So
isn't that what happened in Texas?
What casino are we robbing?
The one that
you got a little Chinese guy that can get through the vents?
Stay at.
Yeah, the one they did say. That's exactly right. Well, just so like we're part of Arizona State's team, that's hilarious. So I'm guessing you're going Ole Miss.
Yes.
Guessing you're going
Ole Miss. I'll take the 10.5.
Yeah, I'll take
it as
like
is.
the Ole Miss sweep. All right, last one here, Timmy B. Iowa State. You obviously have Iowa State at 3. You think they're playing them at home. What's the over under 41.5?
Yep.
Oh, pound the under. I love
Mortal lock.
I love this bet. You think Iowa State takes care of Iowa? I know Gronowski was like 8 of 14 against Albany's School of the Blind and Confused. But you like Iowa State in this one? I think they're 3-point favorite. 2.5. 2.5.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that's as quality a bet as you can find. I think they win the game. I think the under is probably still going to be intact, just because not just because of the way Phil Parker puts together a defense, which is awesome. Okay. But because of the way Iowa State always plays against teams like Iowa, okay?
Yeah.
They're going to go 12, 13 personnel all day long. Rocco Beck is a guy that is a gamer, is a big-time playmaker, but in games against teams where the secondaries are going to throw a lot of different looks, and Parker's defense always does, he's got to be mindful of controlling the football and not taking risks, okay? Not taking the shots that he would take against other competition, even though that competition may be good. The winning is not based solely on defense. Iowa wins with not just a defense that stymies you, but a defense that gets tackles for losses and turns you over.
Yeah.
It's the only way Iowa wins. It's the only way Iowa wins. And I think as long as Rocco maintains the ball, protects it, and manages, he'll be a game manager in this matchup because Parker forces you to do that. He does. It's a little bit like going back and watching those old LSU Alabama games, those games of the century when LSU's defense was so good and Alabama's defense was so good. It's the same style of game. I'm not saying the players are as good. I'm saying the defenses are well constructed. And by the way, John Haycock, the defense coordinator for Iowa State, is a pretty damn good defensive coach
For
too.
sure.
So that makes it a low-scoring game without question. But I don't doubt for 1 second that Iowa State has an offense that can make big plays and Iowa does not. So I'm going
and you just
with
need a
Iowa State all the
couple
way.
in this game typically.
Yeah,
I like
that's
Iowa
right.
State too.
Yep.
I always call this game the 7th inning game because at some point it's going to look like a baseball game in the 7th inning by the score, whether that's like 5-2 or like 6-3 or, or like 8-3.
Right.
It always looks like that at some point. I do like Iowa State again. I'm not picking against them at home.
By the way, if you get bored watching it, okay, you can go from the big noon game over to the littler big noon on FS1 because that's where I'll be.
Yeah.
In,
Tell everybody
Bloomington,
who's
Indiana.
It's Indiana, right?
Yeah, and Kennesaw State. And
sneaky.
by the way,
Kennesaw last week against Wake.
how about that? Could have won.
Almost.
Could have won.
Oh, we used to live over
Should've
by
won.
Kennesaw State.
Yeah, it's our old stomping grounds.
By
For
the way,
sure.
My old partner from CFA football in 1989 and legendary Georgia coach Vince Dooley was hired to be their athletic director when they started their program. So, I'm fond of Kennesaw State, if nothing else for that reason. And got a new coach, got a new look, and I'm looking forward to the game. And listen, Cignetti's always fun to cover.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's a light week for college football. I mean, either that or Delaware's playing at Colorado. That's the other game on Fox.
The Blue Hens.
Vanetti's got that
Right?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Joe
there's
Flacco,
not
right?
a lot out there on
He's
the
not
menu.
there,
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, he's not playing.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot on the menu this week, other than those 3 matchups that we talked about, the top 10 matchups.
South
This
Florida
is
going to
sort of
beat
a
Florida?
soft week.
You think South Florida's going to beat Florida?
Why do you think I put Florida and South Florida where I did in my poll this week?
Tryouts.
They can determine, right? Let's see who's worthy. Top 15 worthy.
I love
That was
it.
amazing what they did to Boise State.
Hey, your boy.
Because Spencer Danielson's a hell of a coach.
He is.
Spencer Danielson's a hell of a coach.
So is Golish,
And
though.
They got, he is. And South Florida, as you guys know, can have tremendous success. When Levitt was there, they had it. I mean, you can have great success at a place like that. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes. All the pressure shifts back to Billy Napier again.
For sure.
This is a game that I'm sure he would really prefer getting past.
Well,
So,
I watched
it's a
Matt
root canal
Grothe.
weekend for him.
Yeah, I watched Matt Grothe and 2 top 2-round corners from South Florida back when they were going to class in trailers at South Florida. Come up to Jordan Hare and whip Auburn's ass like it was nothing and then leave.
That should be the case. Just recruit the state.
That's it. Listen, if you made me pick one place, the words South and Florida next to each other is an unbelievable place to start. Unbelievable place to start.
If we're done picking games, I have one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
question, though, Tim. I hesitate to bring this up because we have so many great games this weekend, but you're really the first person to open my eyes to the fact that so many negative stories about college football drop during the college football season in an attempt to tarnish the reputation of the sport. And I think there's some validity there. Court documents revealed this week that a former Michigan football player lied lied to the NCAA about being told to lie to the NCAA, which is why the linebackers coach Chris Partridge, who was fired, did not get in any trouble with the most recent NCAA findings. There's some speculation this player could be Joey Velasquez, the former Michigan player who transferred to play for the Buckeyes. Obviously, that's just speculation at this point. But what are your thoughts on this? Is this a major story, or do only Michigan fans care about this?
I don't think it's a major story yet, but it could become one, David. And that's why I've always scoffed at some of this, crap that's out there all the time about what's gone on. And listen, the media gets some help in these negative stories because the NCAA helps them, by issuing stories like the one they did and coming out. It just so happened a week before the start of the season. Let's put out the show cause
the
on
hit piece.
It was a total.
It's like
hit
elections,
piece.
right?
And,
it's like a week. What do they call it? The October surprise.
Yeah.
We get the August surprise. That's basically what it is.
So you can't fully blame the media. It's another one of the reasons why I'd like to see the NCAA completely out, get away from them as fast as you can. And that's another. We've talked about that ad nauseum in the past, but. Right now, it is a centralized, I think, Michigan-only story, David. But in time, particularly if Michigan happens to beat Oklahoma and they continue to be a national factor, I don't think a lot of people expect that this year. I know I don't. But if they do, then you can bet that it'll creep back into the news again.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked at all if that weren't the case.
Yeah. Well,
thank you,
Timmy B. Excited to watch you this weekend, brother. You do a hell of a job. Really enjoyed the Kansas broadcast that you and Devin did. My wife loves listening. Every time she's in the kitchen, not saying that's where she stays.
How dare you?
Okay, but every time she hears your voice, she's like, "Hey, is that Timmy B?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And she'll come out and watch and listen. But we really appreciate you joining us, man.
Thank you. We've got some of these Friday games coming up in the future where we'll have a little less competition for your eyeballs and her eyeballs. But I appreciate all of that. Devin and I are having a great time. And Josh Sims, we did 3 games in 8 days, and I didn't get tired one time. I was loving it. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, before I leave, I said this before we came on the air, and I want to mention it. Keep an eye on Minnesota in the Big Ten as a sleeper now with Drake Lindsey at quarterback. This kid is a stud, 6'6", 240, can really sling it, big league arm. How the hell Arkansas did not get him? I mean, he's a legacy. Jim Lindsey was on the 64 team with Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. His sons both played in the 80s. Lindy and John David. John David's the father of Drake Lindsey. The fact that this kid who won the state title in Fayetteville didn't get a sniff from Arkansas is kind of a shock. Listen, I know that they have a great running quarterback in Taylor Green from the transfer from Boise, but that they should have given that kid an opportunity. They're blaming, obviously, the OC. Why not? Go blame Petrino, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's what'll happen. Here's what'll happen. Taylor Green will be gone after this year, and they'll go get him out of the transfer portal. That'll probably whatever new coach comes in after Sam is probably done.
Be hard to do with PJ, Bub. And by the way, Jim Lindsey, the grandfather, was a Minnesota Viking who played for Bud Grant for 7 years.
Interesting.
So
very interesting.
That'll make it
tough.
tough.
You know, Devin's my second favorite former Michigan quarterback. There's another guy that's basically
You're a big Denard Robinson.
Dude, I loved J.J. McCarthy. He was great. But no, Timmy B, thank you so much, my friend. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Got some more great content coming your way this week. Don't forget, we're going to have our reactions and recap and some previews that come out this weekend as well once week 2's over to get ready for week 3. So, to all you guys out there, like the chances of me not being excited, I don't care who's playing. Yeah. I'm just glad that they're playing. Make sure you check out Indiana, Kennesaw State with Timmy B and Devin Gardner this weekend on FS1. But like the chances of me not being excited, we're going. Ooh! Little Odell?
Little ricochet.
Gone. God, I feel like I play for Miami right now.